Hi, everybody. My name is John DePietro, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this kind of super special edition of My Life with Kenny Rogers. And the great part about it is that what you're going to hear is not about my life with Kenny Rogers, but about the life of our special guest and his affiliation with Kenny Rogers. And I will tell you this, that this is one of a series of several, I don't even know the number yet because the numbers keep getting bigger, several videos that we're doing commemorating Kenny's fabulous 55 years in entertainment, not just in music, but in entertainment. And if you want to get a hold of all of them, right down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there is a button that says subscribe. Hit that button, and then a bell will appear. Hit the bell, and then every time we do a new one, you'll get it before everyone else. Remember, this special offer is not available in stores. It's only available here on this YouTube channel. And with that being said, getting all the business done away with, our guest is Don Gatlin. And Don, we want to welcome you to a story about you.
I'm glad to be here. My story starts with growing up in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's
hometown of Joe Namath.
Joe Namath.
Yes.
Joe Namath.
Absolutely. I went to school with his nephew. All through school, we played football and sports together.
So you're probably a Jets fan at one time.
No.
No.
I'm diehard Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They couldn't, even though the cool thing, Joe Namath would come to at least one of our games every year. He'd be in the audience rooting us on. It was pretty cool.
And you were playing?
Yes, because I was playing with his nephew.
High school football.
Yep.
But high school football in Pennsylvania is big, right?
It's very, very big.
Yeah. Very
big. And we played Frank's his name, Frank Namath, and we played baseball, basketball, and football, from tiny little guys all the way up. But he actually went on to play for Maryland University, starting guard for Maryland. Okay. So he made to the college level.
Okay. So somehow you made it to Nashville.
Oh yeah. Well, my family, my mom especially, always loved music. My mom did a little singing when she was younger, and she got to open up for Kitty Wells and work with Stoney and Wilma Lee Cooper. And so we had music around us, and we started out, for me, I listened to the music that my parents listened to when you were little. So I listened to Kenny Rogers, Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, Tammy Wynette, Johnny Cash, Marty Robbins, and Mr. Kenny Rogers. And I still love all those artists to this day. But when I saw Kenny Rogers for the first time, I was a little guy on the Mike Douglas show. Do you remember that show, John? And I saw him come out, and he was singing Lucille. I don't know what it was, but from that moment on, I was just this gigantic Kenny Rogers fan. And from that moment on, what little money I had, I got every single album he put out. And my relatives were all big Kenny Rogers fan too, so that was nice. So at Christmas time, we'd be throwing on the Christmas music and a Kenny Rogers 10 Years of Gold album. We'd mix it up with some Kenny Rogers. And then he came out with Christmas music, which is some of my favorite stuff to this day. So
keep talking about that 10 Years of Gold album.
That 10 Years of Gold album was actually, as I said, my relative cousin had that album first. I learned every song on it. And like I said, I was collecting my own Kenny Rogers collection at that point, every album. And back then, they used to put out at least 2 albums a year. So that was really nice. You didn't have to wait too long for a new release. Exactly. There it is. That 8-track?
No, I'm not that old. It's
That's the cassette.
Cassette.
What a great album.
Is that, man, you say 8-track, and you talk to little kids, they have no idea what that is.
I know. I had a Kenny Rogers 8-track also, though.
Yeah, exactly.
The Love or Something Like It album I had on 8-track.
So I think we found this at a flea market, and, we have it. Now it's a decoration in the house somewhere. So when you said that, I said,
That's a great album. It's such a great album. And so it just kept growing from there. My brother and I were singing together at an early age. We had some luck, and we got to play at Ponderosa Park in Salem, Ohio. We were the favorites of that area, and then also the Capitol Music Hall in Wheeling, West Virginia. But by the time we were regulars and getting to open for all the big country stars passing through, Kenny Rogers was too big for those venues. So he's like the one superstar because he was so big. He was playing nothing but arenas at this point.
Yep.
And so these venues are big, but they're not that big. They're not.
This is like the early 80s?
Yeah, that's when we started taking off, and we were really popular in our local area and got to play those two great venues. And even though all the greats passed through, from the Oak Ridge Boys to Barbara Mandrell to Reba, they were not as big as Kenny Rogers was. So the absolute elite, like Kenny, and I'd say, gosh, I can't really think of anybody else in the country that was that big in that period. Maybe Willie Nelson, but even Willie Nelson played Ponderosa Park.
Yeah. In
So
those early 80s, nobody was touching Kenny.
No, and it just we used to cover all the songs. Anytime he put a new single out, we would cover it with our band in Pennsylvania, and always would go over great. And even when my wife and I were first started dating, I made a karaoke. They used to have those booths, karaoke booths. You'd go in and do a recording. I sang "Lady" and made a tape for her. She was a big Kenny Rogers fan. That might be the defining point why I married her.
Does she know that?
No, she sent it back really darn serious, but no, but she loved that song. She loved "Lady," and I sang it for her, and I definitely scored some major brownie points when I did that song. So leading up to Nashville, we've been to Nashville a few times. We won some contests like the Seacrum 7 Battle of the Bands. We won another contest that got us to Nashville to perform and even make some recordings. But in 1986, I was a grand champion winner on the old TNN Nashville Network show called "You Could Be a Star," which Jim Ed Brown used to host. I won the whole thing. So doing that, I got to do a record on Capitol Records. And then the following year, I moved to Nashville, and I was, never looking back. But one of my main inspirations to move to Nashville, it was Kenny Rogers, Ronnie Millsap, A Restless Heart, the Gatlin brothers. I mean, that harmony, this great singing. Kenny Rogers always had amazing special guests on his albums. If you look back on all his albums, he could have played it safe and just did 10 songs with the standard 18 players, which he did do too. But he brought in Lionel Richie. He brought in Michael Jackson. He brought in Gladys Knight, who's my favorite female singer of all time. Yep. He'd bring in Stanley Jordan on guitar. He'd bring in David Foster to produce his albums. Every album was another surprise of Kim Carnes, James Ingram. The list goes on and on and on. He didn't have to do that.
But What About Me?
What's that?
Was that James Ingram? That was What About Me, right? What About Me?
But what about me? Yeah.
You do it a little differently than me.
I'll always. So that was David Foster. And
that Foster produced that one?
Yes, he did. And then he even had George Martin, the legendary Beatle producer, produce his 1985 album. So, I mean, I love that about him. That every album we're going to get special guests. And he did that all throughout his career. Even the big #1 record, Buy Me a Rose, in 2000, that had Alison Krauss and my buddy Billy Dean singing on it. Yep. So like he constantly made it entertaining for the listener. I love that about him.
So eventually, Don and Daryl, you had the hit, et cetera, and then Savannah Jack came around.
Yes. Well, my brother and I had a good run. And in fact, in 1990, unfortunately, there was a tragic death of Reba's band. Got killed in the plane crash.
Okay. Out in California.
Well, yes. Well, Reba put together here in Nashville at the old Municipal Auditorium. She put together a benefit concert for their families, and she wanted Kenny Rogers to be the grand finale. So Kenny came out there, and with Chuck and all the guys came out there and was the finale of that show in 1990, and did some songs. But at the end, the last song of the evening was "Lean on Me," the old Bill Withers hit.
Yep.
So they called up everybody who was in the show, the Gatlin brothers, T. Graham Brown, Exile,
that's right,
Katie Oslin, all of them, and got them up for the big finale to all sing "Lean on Me" with Kenny Rogers. My buddy Mike Turner worked for the Kenny Rogers organization at the time, and he talked to I think he talked to CK.
Yeah, and Mike Turner also worked for Reba too, didn't he?
I think so. Yes. Fan club capacity. And so he talked to, I think, the CK at the time, and said, "Hey, these guys are just got a record deal, and they're gigantic Kenny Rogers fans," which was true. can they come up and sing the finale? So we did. They pushed us up on stage, and that's the first time I was on stage with Kenny Rogers in 1990 for that unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But I was so in awe of him. I think if you look at the picture, there's a picture of it. I'm at the very end of the stage on the opposite end of Kenny because I was so like afraid, scared.
Right by the curtains, right by the curtains.
Exactly. I was like, maybe we don't belong here, but it was a great thrill to be on stage with him, never knowing in a million years that a decade later or 2 decades later, I would be on the road traveling with him, hanging out with him, getting because he treated us. Fast forward to when we got to tour with Kenny and the guys. One of the coolest things we did is we got to go to the UK on tour with Kenny. And after our first show, Kenny actually got a little mad at us because we were doing the bed and breakfast, and we were doing we had our own rental car, which, the roads, you travel on the other side of the road.
Right.
He goes, I'm not going to have my opening act get murdered out here, get killed on the road. You're traveling with us. So from that moment on, after the first show, we traveled with Kenny everywhere he went, on planes, trains, and automobiles, and every hotel. We stayed in the same hotel. I mean, he treated us as good as any opening act could dream about.
Yeah.
And how that happened was in 2000, I wrote a song with Billy Montana on the There You Go Again album called I Won't Forget. And it was so emotional for me. I cried. I literally cried when I heard that voice sing my song, that I grew up listening to.
Sure.
But then fast forward to 2007, Kenny said he really loved my voice because he had heard it on the demo of the song I wrote called Something's Wrong in Vegas, which ended up on the Greatest Hits 50th Anniversary Edition. And called me in the studio with Tony Brown and got to do a little singing with Kenny on that. And then he basically said, with the help of Howard Fields, said, hey, what are you guys doing? You want to go on the road with us? And we were like, yes. Yeah. That sounds pretty good. So that's how we did it. It was like a dream come true, and so grateful. We played to so many people that never heard of us. I mean, he could have had anybody as his opening act, and he picked us. And we played to thousands of people every night all over the world. And I'm telling you, we did not take it for granted for a second. Like I said, I'd stand off the side of the stage and watch every show, all 66. I counted every one that we did.
Well, you knew it by heart.
Yeah. And he would always give it. I'm telling you, John, without fail, every show, at the end of his show, he would give us a shout out. How about a hand for that amazing Savannah Jack? Every single time. Just unbelievable.
And then go right into Islands in the Stream.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
It was like the last two during that period were Lady and then into Islands in the Stream.
Islands. Yep. Exactly. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, go ahead.
So moving forward here, you guys you said 66 shows with them and got to learn the show and the songs. And you're kind of like, Randy referred to you as a Kenny Rogers historian. He said, all the songs and all the words.
Well, every album, I learned every song, and it would stay with me. It stayed with me my whole life so far.
Even the album cuts, not necessarily the singles, but.
Absolutely. On Facebook, on the Savannah Jack or Don Gatlin Facebook. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I've posted many songs. I play piano also.
Yeah.
I don't in our show that we're doing with the fellas because I mean you got two of the meanest, awesome keyboard players in one band. You got Gene and Steve in the same band, so they don't need me to play keyboards.
Yeah.
So but on Facebook, I'll do a post of a song, Kenny song. I do it all the time. If people want to check it out, I've done songs like 20 years ago, Love Song. I did Love the World Away. All those ones.
Cry, yep. Yeah, exactly. So the good news, I mean, the best news. Well, let's go back a little bit. When Kenny got off the road at the last show, December 17, 2017, up in freezing Glens Falls, New York, I was there.
Wow.
And, got most of the show on video. Kenny walking off the stage the last time.
That's amazing. That is I'm so glad you did that.
Yep, with Linda Davis, arm in arm, Blaze of Glory, and that was it. He walked down the stairs, and I kind of knew that, man, I'll tell you, even though you take 3 months off, and I know they had 20 dates booked in 2018, I said, I just can't see. You know, he was so frail by then.
It was very frail. Yeah.
That you know, he's going to be able to recover from this. I know they were going to do a heart procedure and
I
something
know.
like that.
It was a little bit. Again, we would never show it, but it was a little shocking to see. You know, be around Kenny from 2008 to 11, and I thought he was looking pretty darn good.
Yep.
And he's sounding great.
Yep.
And then to see him in 2018, it was a little bit shocking
Right.
for me because
Exactly.
I hadn't seen him for a while, and
But he was, you know, I'm sure you realize he was an Energizer bunny in that. In fact, a couple times I asked him, you know, Randy said they played Australia 9 times.
wow.
And if you've ever flown to Australia or New Zealand, that's a long ride. That's not
That's
like
one of the
from
longest
Nashville
ones there
to
is.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
they would come back, they'd land in Atlanta on Thursday, and then Friday night he's playing in North Carolina. And I said, how can anybody do that, especially when you're flying that way, that your body gets all screwed up?
I'm 53 and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, you know, I know you guys had said, well, Kenny's off the road right now, and had thought maybe the band wants to do some work, and I know the song.
John, I literally had the light switch come on. We were headlining Savannah Jack. We're headlining a cruise ship, and I literally woke up with this idea. I went, you know what? It would be absolutely amazing to get with the Kenny Rogers band and go out and keep this music alive. Keep all these great songs and his great music alive. He has so many fans that love Kenny so much, and so I put together a show. I literally got up out of bed, went, and I said, what would I do if I was lucky enough to sing with the Kenny Rogers band? What would I want to do? And I put together this show, and when I was looking at it, I go, man, this is a really good show on paper. And I'm thinking, honestly, I might not be on that cruise ship. It's all connected, John. I might not be on that cruise ship if it wasn't for Kenny Rogers, because he gave us all that work when we didn't have any. Then by 2011, the reason we stopped working with him, because we had so many dates of our own. That's the only reason we stopped working with him, because we had all these shows we had built up. We got a real nice independent record deal. We had songs on the charts, and we were doing our own touring now. But we wouldn't have got to that point without Kenny. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I said, we've been together. I reached every goal I wanted to reach with Savannah Jack. We're playing all over the world. And I'm thinking this would be so musically fun to do this. So I called up Chuck first.
Yeah.
And Chuck was like, Don, first of all, I'm very surprised because I've seen your calendar and I know how much you're working with Savannah Jack. I just didn't think you would be even interested in doing something like that. But he goes, but he made me feel really good because he said he had talked to the guys, and just in conversation, they brought my name up on their own without even me knowing I wanted to do this. Like, who could do this? If we played and did song, who could do this? And I guess Chuck told the story that my name came up. So I went, wow.
Well, I had already turned them down. That's why your name came up.
See, John, I didn't know that. They kept that from me.
Hey, nobody can clean out a room faster than me, Don. I can clean out a room. So
after I got off the phone with Chuck, I was like, hey, I want to do this, and let's figure out a way to do this. We got together and rehearsed, and you know what? Here's what I told them. I said, I wanted to do the songs back in the original key of all the records, okay? And I wanted to do.
What does that mean?
That?
What is that? Well, that's like non-music people. What does that mean?
Over the years, Kenny, again, a lot of older singers. I mean, Kenny's not the only one. In fact, it's very rare artists when they reach us, get us older, they start lowering the keys to protect their voice, to savor their voice more. They start lowering the keys, make it less strenuous. Because Kenny's songs are very rangy. Songs, like 20 years ago, through the years, them songs are really rangy. So he started lowering the keys to make it easier on himself to sustain his voice throughout an hour and a half show. So I wanted to go back to the original keys. I've also wanted to start doing the whole song instead of like little medleys of them.
Yep.
And so the funny thing is, when we got to rehearsal, because I already had these songs all in my head since I was a little boy, I was like, I think they had to do more learning the songs than I did. They're like, wait a minute, we haven't played this whole song in 20 years.
Yeah, because that old medley with
right.
She Believes in Me, what were they?
Decorated My Life and Through the Years is one of them.
Yeah.
Then he had another hit, medley B, which was I Don't Need You, Share Your Love, and Crazy.
Okay.
Which he would do every now and then.
Yeah.
So it was like it was funny because I was like, hey, you guys need some more time to get this thing figured out.
So they got it going again, and you guys did a demo show up in, I guess you'd call it a demo show up in Wisconsin Dells, and
it was a live audience. It was a real deal to me.
A lot of recording of that, which made it to Facebook and YouTube, et cetera, et cetera.
I want to see that. I still haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna go watch it right now.
Yeah, okay. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
How do I find it? How do I find it?
The guy who played Kenny did good. But we should say, Don, that this is unlike those tribute shows that are all over the place. It's not really a tribute show.
No.
Because you're not wearing a wig or
I would never do that.
Wearing Kenny's clothes or any of that stuff. You're really keeping the music alive, and the band is the band. So
Can I tell you secretly too, John? I can do a Kenny Rogers impersonation.
Oh, is that right?
I actually did it for him.
Yeah. How do you like it?
He made me. But I would never do that. But he's been a huge influence on my real voice. Like I remember Kenny said one time to Brent Mayer when he heard the demo of I Won't Forget, the song I wrote, he goes, he sounds like a young me. And Brent told me that. He goes, Kenny, when he heard the demo, he goes, Don sounds like a young me. And that was the greatest compliment I could ever get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like I said, I got to open for Kenny all these times, and I've written 2 songs for him. But even better, this is, like you said, this is his actual band. This isn't a tribute band. This is the band. This is Kenny's band. They went through all those magic moments with him. Traveled did all the TV shows, all the specials.
And there's like 100 years of experience in that band.
Absolutely.
Combined.
And they're still really great.
They are.
This Christmas album, when people hear this Christmas album we just did, it's a brand new Christmas album we did with one brand new song on it, new original song on it. Wait till you hear the musicianship from the guys. If you think they've lost anything, wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear them play on this.
No, I'm sure that it's
crazy
great. And when this COVID thing ends, I know a lot of the shows that you had to, get canceled. We were looking forward to going down to Pennsylvania and catching the show down there.
I know it. I have so many friends there. They were so excited.
Oh, that's right. That's your neck of the woods. It was
unbelievable how many people were going to show up for that.
Yeah. The only problem was when you have too many friends down, nobody wants to pay for the tickets.
Boy, you hit that right on the head. You are so right.
Well, I still have my all access badge that doesn't have a year on it, so I use that to get in. So I'm only kidding.
That's a good. That's true, and also you get more nervous when you play like for your hometown.
Oh yeah.
The only show I get a little nervous at was when we go back. My group Savannah Jack, we just played Beaver Falls High School, and I looked out the audience. It was sold out show. I mean, it was sold out theater, in there, and it was like I knew everybody in the audience. My English teacher, my 8th grade science teacher, my choir teacher. I mean, it was nerve-wracking.
How about that guidance counselor that said you wouldn't amount to anything? Was he there or she there?
You know what? I give my guidance counselor credit. It was and he was very encouraging. He told me to give up football.
He told you to give up football.
Concentrate on singing.
That's funny because Frank Farrell. I don't know if you know Frank. Well, you know Frank, the young guy, the monitor guy. We just did an interview with Frank before you, and he said my guidance counselor told me that I should, because I wasn't really academically a star, but he said I loved my music. The guidance counselor said, Frank, maybe you should work in the foundry because you can work there for your whole life, and it's good work. And Frank said, what's a foundry? He said, well, you take metal and you grind it up and you make metal parts.
That sounds
great. Frank said, you know what? He said it was kind of a inspiration to him to prove that guy wrong.
Right.
From that
everybody has that person. Everybody has that person.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that's yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I tell you, the worst moment of my showbiz career always turned into the next moment would be one of my best.
Yep.
If you have I think that works for anybody in the music business, comedians. I mean, if a comedian bombs, I guarantee that they go back and they come back on stage next time better than ever. I think it's a important part of the journey.
Yep. And I'm guessing that you're going to get good crowds because now that Kenny's not here, the music is almost more valuable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's more sentiment. There's more emotion involved with it. And
I want to get back to Frank for a second because he probably didn't mention this, but Frank is, has worked with some of the greatest acts in the history of music.
Yeah.
And they just reissued that amazing Paul McCartney album called Flaming Pie that he did in 1997 with Jeff Lynne producing. And Frank is on that album. Frank worked on that album.
Frank Farrell.
That is, yes, he did. He's on that album with Steve Miller and Ringo Starr's on the album. It's an amazing record called Flaming Pie. The McCartney, they just put it on vinyl. They just reissued it and put it on vinyl.
Yeah, that's the new thing now, coming back out on vinyl. So
he might not have mentioned that to you, but he's on that.
Yeah. So really the gist of it is the excitement kind of builds as we're in limbo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the limbo part's the worst part because, when you're dealing with venues, they don't book you and then say, come out and do the show in 3 weeks. I mean,
right.
There's a long lead time with that stuff. So
we definitely had some great shows we were looking forward to that got postponed. But they're still on the books, but they just got moved back to 21.
Yep. And if there's any Christmas shows, I'm sure that if is that planned, live Christmas shows?
We're trying to. If we don't get any of them this year, we're definitely going to do Christmas 21, no doubt. We're going to do some great shows. I look forward to doing those songs. I think a couple of the greatest Christmas albums I've ever heard are Kenny Rogers' Christmas album. That one he did in '81 is out of Homemade Christmas in Kentucky is one of my favorite songs.
Another Homemade
Christmas
that one, John. Kentucky. Yep.
God, I love that song.
And I think Kids is on that too. It is Kids, which Oaks do a lot. The guy with the beard, Golden.
William Lee Golden.
William Lee Golden does that. That Kids, Christmas is for Kids.
That album is so great. And then the one he did with Dolly Parton in '84, with that David Foster produced, is just a wonderful, wonderful Christmas album.
Yep. That Homemade Christmas in Kentucky. Right. I mean, because he couldn't, he couldn't do all that.
Homemade Christmas in Kentucky. I love that song.
Yep. And so anyway, the song that you're looking most forward to when you get out, and when you get out on stage, and they say, ladies and gentlemen, the Kenny Rogers Band featuring Don Gatlin. What's the song that's going to give you the biggest thrill?
That is the toughest question you've asked so far, because that is tough for me, because I honestly cherish every single minute. I truly do. If you had to twist my arm and I had to pick one, well,
let me make it easier.
I would say
slow song versus fast song.
Okay. The up-tempo one that we do, I love singing Daytime Friends. I love that groove. And the band, it always gives me goosebumps when they kick it in, when they kick that first note in. Yeah, bang, ba-bam. And because we go right into, on our show, where we have a design, we go from Lucille, as soon as Lucille's over, it goes right into Daytime Friends, it always gets me pretty pumped. I love that.
Right, good, right, yeah, because Kenny used to do that a lot. Now, is your plan to talk between songs and relate them to what Kenny was doing, or the time of year, the time period that they came out, or
we're going to sneak some stories in there because there's so much great history with the band, and I love to connect with the audience. I love to do write songs. I love to record. I love to all that stuff. But my favorite thing to do is entertain. I think that's what I do best, and I love to interact with the crowd.
Entertain is
every show will be different. Every show will be different.
Different set list.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you heard about this yet. At the end of the show, and we started this in my other band, but we're going to do a Kenny Rogers speed round. Any song that you love of Kenny Rogers that we have not done in the show, the fans yell it out. We're going to play a little bit of the song, not the whole song, but a little bit. I don't care which one it is. I mean, album cuts. We're going to do a bit. So every night's going to be different.
Oh, wow.
On our show we did in at the Palace Theater, we had people yell out, someone yelled out Morning Desire. That was fun to do. So we did a verse of the course of Morning Desire. Someone yelled at Reuben James, which we don't have it on our set list, but I love that song anyway. That's a great one anyway.
Yeah.
So we cover the ones from the fans that didn't get, we cover them all. So you will hear your favorite Kenny Rogers song.
We'll hear
everybody that buys a ticket. You'll hear your favorite song, guaranteed.
So this is the part in the interview where I normally would say, ladies and gentlemen, you can see them starting May 15th at the showroom at blah, 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 blah. But I can't say that, but, well, they'll at least be able to hear you when the Christmas content
album comes out. Right? That should be out soon. I think the single, we're going to put that on the CDXs with the radio stations.
Can you say album, Don? Can we still use that word album? Can we still say the word
I'm old school. You know what? My boys, I have two sons, and they collect albums. They don't collect CDs. They collect albums.
Yeah.
And they have a great album collection. So it's back. Albums are back.
Yeah, I guess they take a lot more.
My son, guess what my son got? Guess what my son Austin just got? On his own. He went to a great store we have here in Nashville called McKay's. He found a completely sealed, unopened Eyes That See in the Dark album from '83.
That's
it's in his collection. He loves it. He loves it because he's a fan of the Bee Gees too. So it's got Kenny, Bee Gees, Dolly Parton, it's all that. The Gatlin brothers sing on that album. It's all on there.
Yep, exactly. So we want to thank you so much for taking time from your busy day, especially on such short notice. I've heard a lot about you. I've heard about you. I've never met you. I feel like we kind of met now. Yeah, exactly. And we'll definitely see you on the road. I can't wait to get this interview over because this shirt is a large, and I ain't a large no more. I want it. Wash that thing and I'll take it. So we just want to thank you again and let you know that this is one of several things. We also want to thank Randy and Annie for hooking us up this year. Randy's. I don't know if you thank them after what they said about you, but I mean, that's your call. Exactly. I'm kidding, John. They speak very highly. They speak very highly. We want to thank you so much. Let you know, folks, that if you like this, we're got several more of these. Look for that button. See, and when you record this and you press this side, you have to press to the left in order to get the right side of the screen. So, folks, on one side of your screen, there's a little red button. Hit that button. And then hit the bell, and you'll be notified whenever one comes up. So special thanks to Don Gatlin. Be watching for this guy because when the Kenny Rogers band hits the road with Don Gatlin, you're going to want to get your tickets. And it's going to be a high energy, fun time, sing along. Everyone will know the song. We're going to sing along, have a great time together, audience and band together. And for the first time ever, if you don't hear the Kenny song that you want to hear during the show, raise your hand, stand up, yell out, "Hey, Don, hey, Don," and they'll do their best to we'll do at least a verse of the chorus. Comply with your wishes. So with that, if I have to do it a cappella, I'll do it. Don, let's do this, though. Let's do this. Now, I was talking with Warren Hartman today. Warren was at the keyboard. Gene Sisk was at the keyboard. Let's go out in a blaze of glory. Go ahead. Let's go out in a blaze of glory. All good things must end, like two people in a story. Let's go out like we came in a blaze of glory. See y'all. Good job. See you.